Hello, good morning, and welcome to the next video tutorial in the series that I've been doing on decentralized exchanges, or DEXs. And in this video, we've got some exciting news from ElkNetv Finance. So as of this morning, ElkNetv Finance has upgraded from the old ElkNet version 1 to ElkNet version 2. Now, part of the requirements with this new upgrade is that users upgrade their tokens. So there's going to be a new contract address we're going to need to add to our wallet. You probably already noticed that you're seeing, if you go to the decentralized app for ElkNetv Finance, that you're seeing oELK, which stands for Old Elk, and that you need to upgrade it. I'm going to talk about the timelines here, and just to give you the abbreviated version of the video, you need to upgrade your tokens. After the 12th of April, the ElkNetv Finance will not be emitting any Old Elk rewards. And by the 24th, cross-chain transfers are going to work until the 24th for Old Elk. But you definitely want to get those upgrades done soon. So what I'm going to cover in this video, I'm going to show you how to do the upgrade of a single stake with just basically Elk being upgraded to the new version. And then I'm going to go ahead and split an LP pair, which is something that you're going to need to do, and I'll go into the details of that. And I'm going to show you the contract address and how you would add that to your MetaMask wallet so that you can see the new ELK token. Again, the links for everything, including the Medium articles and the new contract address for the new ELK token, are all in the comments of the video down below. So again, if you don't want to watch the whole video and you're comfortable about doing the steps on your own, go ahead and split off now and go take a look at those articles and you'll be good to go. All right, for those of you that want to see what's going to happen, or maybe I'll end up losing some tokens here, we're going to go ahead and dive in. However, before we do, remember, this is all for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. I'm not a tax advisor. This is not tax advice, and do everything do your own research before you do anything here. And I'm not responsible for any fees, lost assets, tokens, whatever the case may be. You're on your own there. So you've been warned. Let's go ahead and dive in. So here is the main ELK Finance page. Again, it's just simply elk.finance. And if you logged in this morning, you may have seen something like this if you were on the app.elk.finance page. And again, I was kind of messing around with the beta. So this is not the legacy page. And again, there's going to be a new URL that you're going to be using to access the legacy site. However, I was sort of messing around with the beta site for a number of weeks, definitely enjoying that beta site, much quicker response times for things updating in terms of your totals and things like that. But now this morning you see that you've got this warning here: single staking of the new ELK token will become active soon. And you need to withdraw from the old single staking pool now. So we're going to go ahead and do that as if we were on the Phantom network. So if I was to click on this link, you can see that the URL changes here, and it now says legacy.elk.finance, meaning we're on the legacy site. And the legacy site, what you're going to see is purple, right, for the old ELK token. So there's that oELK token. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to need to upgrade these old ELK tokens. So let's go ahead. Let's go to the stake. And you can see we've got the stake here. Well, I'm going to go ahead and withdraw. And as you can see, the withdrawal fees have been waived due to the upcoming ELK token upgrade. So I'm still earning ELK. And again, remember, the emission of rewards on the legacy side will go until April 12th. So in 2 days, there will no longer be emissions for rewards here. So I would definitely make sure that you get in here sooner rather than later. So let's go ahead and withdraw. And I'm going to say withdraw and claim. We're going to scroll down here. I'm going to click on confirm. And let's go ahead and see what happens. So the transaction has been submitted. We're going to be in a pending state. And then we're going to end up with the reward, so 1.2 ELK on top of 547 ELK. And I should technically say that this is oELK. So this is going to be Old Elk. Now, while this is going, let's talk about the LP pairs in the farming side of the house, or if you have them, if you've got them in pools, you have LP tokens in pools. You are going to need to exit those old farms. In other words, you're going to need to withdraw those LP tokens out of those old farms, and you have to split or break the liquidity pair in order to upgrade your oELK to the new ELK tokens. All right, so as you can see here, we've got 548 and change ELK tokens available. We've withdrawn from the single stake pool. So now the question is, how do you upgrade? Well, this is where I'm going to take you. And again, the links for this are down below. And hold on, we just saw... okay, great. So here we go right here. So now you're seeing token upgrade necessary. We're upgrading the token contract of ELK in order to keep farming, staking, and using ElkNet. Upgrade your token. So I'm going to go ahead and click on upgrade now. And here you go. So here were the 548 oELK or Old Elk tokens I had. And you can see they've got this purple logo, but now I need to upgrade. It's going to be a one-for-one upgrade. So don't feel as if, well, wait a minute, they're forcing me to upgrade and they're ripping me off here. They're not. It's one-for-one, and you can see that down to, what is it, the 18th decimal place? So everything is good, and you get to participate in the first ELK governance vote. Now, I thought this was a little funny here. This was entertaining, where they've got these things all pre-checked. Why would you not want to participate in the lottery to get 100 ELK sent randomly to 200 wallets upgrading? Why would they have that check? No, of course I want to participate in that so that maybe I've got a chance of getting 100 free ELK tokens. I mean, come on now. So one recommendation that I'd have for the ELK crew is just set these all to yes, right? All right, then I'm going to click the I accept. I guess one of the reasons they may be checking to see if you're even reading the things that you're voting on. That might be why it's checked no, defaulted to no. However, I mean, come on, guys. Let's go ahead and say yes. People are upgrading here. So I'm going to approve the upgrade, and it's going to cost us 2 cents. So we'll go ahead and do that. And you can see we're pending up here. And again, we should no longer see these oELK, right? Approved upgrade to the new ELK. So what I should have now, and we should see that it takes a couple seconds for it to refresh here. Sorry about that. And you can see it still shows that I've got the oELK, but what should happen is this 548.48 should transfer over here to the green ELK token that we're so used to, that's been around forever. And we're going to go ahead and give it a second or two here. And if it doesn't refresh, I keep wanting to say upgrade. If it doesn't refresh, then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to manually do the refresh. Now, here is this upgrade ELK option. Now, initially, you'll notice on the, and I don't know if I was on the beta site there, these are old on the legacy side. Yeah, you can see here, it shows up here now, but initially this morning, that did not show up. So in other words, I had to withdraw from the pool, and then I noticed that that showed up. So let's refresh here because, again, it doesn't look as if things have happened. And let me do the upgrade before I refresh, actually. Let me do the upgrade. And it looks like the tokens have been upgraded. And I think you had to do 2 transactions there. I don't think it initially did what it was supposed to do, but you can still see it says pending. And we're going to give it a second here to wait for this. And there we go. Okay, good. That was what I was anticipating. So again, it looked like 2 transactions there. And that was definitely something you want to be aware of, that you're going to have 2 transactions when you go to do that upgrade. Now, again, we're on the new ElkNetv2 site here. As you can see, there is no legacy in front of app.elknet.finance. So we've got these 548 ELK. So now let's come over here to the stake, and you can see that single staking will be active soon. In other words, it's not. So I've got these 548 ELK. I'd love to put them right back into the single stake, and we're going to have to wait for that to happen. However, while we're waiting for that, and we're not going to wait in this video, I'll just wait for it to happen in the future, and we'll get that done. So that covers upgrading a single stake activity that we were on the Phantom network for. So now what we're going to do is we're going to flip over, and we're going to take a look at doing an LP liquidity pair, withdraw, split, and upgrade of the ELK. And we're going to do that on the AVAX, so the Avalanche network. Now, when I go to switch, MetaMask is going to ask me to switch. And it's also going to ask me to switch back because I've got some other sites that are trying to access it, but you're going to click cancel here, right? Because these other sites are just going to have to wait. And so you can see over here, I've got 9.7 oELK, right? So I've got 9.7 Old Elk. However, in the pools here, in the farms, I'm actually doing some farming here. So take a look at what it says. Farms with the new ELK token will become active soon. And this is going to be Epic 12, right? Or I should say, what do they refer to it at? Round 12. They call it rounds, right? So right down here, you can see farming round 12 is going to be going live soon. So round 11 just kind of wrapped up, which is a great time to do this upgrade. And again, after the 12th of April, you will not get any rewards. No rewards will be emitted after April 12th. So you definitely want to make sure that this happens. So you can see it says withdraw the LPs. Now this is critical. And if I take a step back here, again, the link for the Medium site is going to be in the description below, and you want to pay very close attention to the following. And I believe that it is going to be, it's in the docs actually. And let me take a look here. I thought I had the docs. Yeah, so here are the docs. So this is very important. Again, this link I've got down below as well. Now, when we're dealing with liquidity pairs or LP tokens, they've got some notes down here, right? Remember to remove ELK from the existing LP tokens and single-sided pool. So again, pull out of the pool, split the LP pair, upgrade the ELK token, then you can recreate the pair, put it back into the farm, the pool, and whatever farm it is that you're in, right? So you can't upgrade it in place if it's already part of an LP pairing. And that's what we're going to do. And you'll notice you see that behavior here. It only shows I've got 9.7 oELK. Well, that's 9.7 Old Elk that's just sitting here in or on the Avalanche blockchain. So in other words, we've got to split the pair. So let's do that. So it says withdraw LP from previous farms in the legacy app. It brings us to the legacy side. Here we are in Avalanche, and I have a small stake over here. So let's click on manage, and you can see, again, not much going on over here, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to withdraw everything. Now, when I withdraw, it is also going to claim everything for me. So any rewards, which is this right here, the second sort of block down, you'll notice that the Old Elk legacy stuff, and they've even changed it here in the LP listing as oELK, it's going to be purple, right? Then I've got my impermanent loss coverage, which I can claim as well. So let's go ahead and do the withdraw. We're going to withdraw and claim, because again, when you withdraw, it does the claim as well. And it looks like we might have some insufficient AVAX funds. So it looks like I might need to get some AVAX into my wallet. All right, well, give me a second, and I'm going to do that, and then we're going to pick right back up from here after I reject that transaction, and we'll make this happen. All right, so we're back, and now we actually have enough AVAX to cover the fees. Remember, the fees that we're paying are going to be whatever the native token is on the chain that we're on. And so here we're on the Avalanche chain, so I needed to have some AVAX. So let's go ahead and do this withdraw again, and let's see what happens. And it's going to be 0.07, and we've got that, and our transaction has been submitted. So now what's going to end up happening is we're going to receive our LP pairs along with any rewards that we've claimed. And you're going to see that that looks like it's just taken place, and there we go. All right, so here we are on the Avalanche side, but we're on the legacy ELK finance. Remember, according to the docs, it's indicating that this needs to be done. We've got to exit the old farms from the old sites and then break the LP pairings here. So let's do that. So let's go ahead and go to, let's go to the pool. And you can see that we've got our AVAX oELK, right? And that's that oELK that we're trying to get to. So we're going to go to Manage, and I'm going to remove this. We're going to do the max, which is everything we've got. We're going to click Approve. Then we're going to come over here. We're going to sign that transaction, and we're going to remove this LP pairing. All right, so here we go. And again, 0.02, and the fee is paid with Avalanche AVAX. We'll go ahead and close this down, and the transaction is pending. So again, right, senior moment on my part, minor oversight there, forgetting that I'm going to need some AVAX in this wallet in order to make the claiming of these transactions here on the Avalanche mainnet. So here we go. So we've removed the AVAX and the oELK, and you'll notice that now it shows that the ELK total is updated here, right? It shows 275 ELK along with 8.132 AVAX. And so now what we need to do is, this is Old Elk. So if I come over here to, where are we at here? If we'll go to the swap side, you'll see it's showing that I have Old Elk. Now, we haven't received any kind of an update yet telling us, hey, you need to update this like we did when we were over on the Phantom mainnet. So let's see if I refresh what happens here. So it keeps us on the legacy side. However, I don't see, if we come to the, let's click on the main ElkNet logo, you'll notice that it's not listing anything new over here. So I believe what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go back to, get off the legacy side and go over to the non-legacy new ElkNetv2. And there we go. Let's click refresh. Sorry, I get my tabs mixed up there. We'll click refresh. We'll come back over here, and you can see we're on the Avalanche mainnet. It shows my 275.260 oELK. So let's go ahead and upgrade that ELK. So here we go again. It looks like I get to, I'm sure that they're going to limit this to, one wallet address. But it would have been nice had they just clicked yes. I'll click accept. Now we're going to approve the upgrade. Here's where I think we're going to see two transactions. So we're looking at 29 cents. We'll click on confirm. We're going to allow this to approve. And there we go. Approved upgrade of 275 oELK to ELK. But now that we've approved it, we need to perform the upgrade. And this is kind of where I stumbled a little bit earlier. And it does actually indicate this, I believe, in the documentation. It tells you that you're going to have to do this. So now we're going to click on upgrade. And again, we're paying those fees in AVAX. And I'm going to click upgrade. Tokens were upgraded. So now the upgraded tokens should show up as no longer, and there we go. You can see how quickly that happened, right? It went from oELK right over to the new upgraded version of ELK. So now let's see if we can do the reverse here, right? Which is, we've removed the LP liquidity pair from the pool. We split the liquidity pair. We upgraded the oELK to the new ElkNetv2, new and improved ELK token. But here's something that we're going to talk about right now. Let's go to our MetaMask wallet, because remember, I told you I'd show you how to add this in. We go to the MetaMask wallet. Where is all of that new ELK? You'll notice that we don't see it. Now, this was a little bit confusing. You'll notice it says 0 ELK. Well, this is referring to the old ELK, even though in MetaMask it didn't say, on Phantom it doesn't do this either. It doesn't say oELK. So if you look in your MetaMask wallet, you might panic thinking, wait a minute, I've lost all my ELK. Well, remember, there's a new contract address that's required. And so to get that, you come to the Medium article here, and it should be in this one right here. ElkNetv2 is now live. And there is the new contract address for the ElkNetv2 token. So let's step back over to the wallet here, and we'll go all the way to the bottom. We're going to click Import Tokens. Now, it says you can search for tokens here. I'm going to put in a custom token, because as soon as I paste that address in, you're going to see that it says ELK. And hold on one second. I want to make sure that's not a... Okay, good. I thought that was an apostrophe that might have snuck in there. And let's click Add Custom Token. So there are the 275 ELK. So I'm going to click Import Tokens. Now those ELK tokens show up in my wallet. I apologize, I didn't demonstrate this over on the Phantom side. So, however, if you do it, you'll notice that the actual ELK logo, that's Old Elk, right? That's why it's zeroed out. You add that new contract address in, and it shows up here. And I'm going to do it. I believe I'm going to have to do this over on the Phantom side, so we'll do that as well. But that's how you see your new ELK. And so this might be a little bit confusing. You see this, and you're like, well, hey, where did all my new ELK go? Well, this, if you had it, That's the old elk. Here is your new elk. So keep that in mind. And now let's transition back to the Avalanche mainnet on the app ELK Finance ElkNetv2. So let's come over to the pools. So let's see if I can add liquidity, right? So I'm going to go here. I'm going to say add liquidity. And what am I adding? Well, we're going to add all of that elk, right? And that is our new elk. And again, this is a little bit messy here because here we're seeing the elk logo for the new elk. In the MetaMask, it's the opposite, right? You're not seeing that. But just know that here in ElkNetv2, in their DApp, that's what you're going to see. Now, what do I want to pair it with? Well, we're going to pair it with some AVAX. I'm going to go max here, right? Because again, I just pulled it all out. So let's put it all back in. I'm going to click approve elk. I've got a 37-cent charge, definitely worth the fee that we're going to pay. And this is approving the new elk. And so I'm assuming we've got multiple transactions ahead of us here. We're approving this new ElkNetv2 elk. And then once this is approved, I should then be able to do the supply of this or do the actual creation of the LP tokens. So there we go. So it's been approved and now we get to perform the supply action. Again, this kind of tripped me up early on. So let's click supply. I'm going to confirm my supply. We've got a little confirmation action going here and the fee is 0.01 AVAX. I'll click close and we're going to allow this to continue. Now remember round 12, right? And ElkNet refers to it as rounds. On other sites, you'll hear it referred to as epochs. And just all that means is it's a way to say, hey, you know, this is how long we're going to be running this, right? Or so now we're in round 12, which is where for a number of the pools, right, there'll be new pools. However, for a number of the pools, everything just rolls over and there's nothing that you need to do. And the ELK AVAX pool is one of those pools. There's nothing that you need to do when the rounds are changing normally. The reason we're doing all of this is because ElkNetv2, right? The new ElkNet is out. We've got to upgrade the tokens so that we can get them into round 12 pools. All right, so here we go. We've got our positions been all fixed up here. You can see that the elk is gone. We've got a little bit of AVAX left over for some fees should we need it. But now let's come down to the farms. And again, you can see that looks like the new farms are not up and active yet. So we've already withdrawn from the previous farms. And you can see here, farming round number 12, no active rewards just yet. So let me refresh, make sure I'm not missing anything here. All right. So again, this should all be coming back online at some point. I think you're going to see the same thing. Yeah. So it will be active soon. It's not active yet. So what I'm going to do is at the end here, I'm going to pause the video and I'll wait for this to come active and then I'll make sure I capture this so you can see what's taking place there. So what do we need to do? Well, we've done everything we need to do here on the Avalanche side. Let's go back to the Phantom side. Again, MetaMask is going to ask us to switch over to the Phantom mainnet, and we will gladly do that. You can see we've got all this new elk here. However, what I wanted to show you is if I come over to the wallet, what we're going to see inside MetaMask, and let's get down to where the elk is. So you can see it shows this 0 elk. Now, we know that that's not true. And again, this might be a cause for confusion because this doesn't have the elk logo. It kind of shows a logo like we saw on the Avalanche mainnet when we were in MetaMask. So if I scroll all the way down, we don't see any indication that we have any elk at all, right? So let's do it again. Let's import tokens. And again, here we've got custom tokens. We're going to paste in that address. It's the new elk. And we're going to go ahead and say add custom token and we'll import the token. And you can see there they are. There's the 548. Everything is safe and sound. We'll import that. And now if I pop back over here, if we float all the way to the very bottom is where we should see it because it adds, as you're adding in new tokens, it adds it to the bottom of this MetaMask assets list for tokens. So there are the tokens. And you can see I was simply straight staking these tokens here on the Phantom side. If we go to stake, we're going to have to wait. So I'm going to pause right here. What have we done so far? So we've upgraded a single stake of ELK tokens from ElkNetv1 to ElkNetv2, and we see that we're waiting for that single stake pool to become available again. And then we withdrew on the Avalanche side from one of the pools our liquidity pair tokens or liquidity provider tokens, those LP tokens, off the AVAX mainnet. We pulled those LP tokens out. Remember, you're going to need AVAX for the transactions. We split those or removed the LP pairing. We then did the upgrade. We then repaired the AVAX with our new and improved ElkNetv2 ELK tokens. And we're waiting for those pools to come live. So at this point, we're going to do a quick pause here. And once these come online and I'm able to drop my new and improved ElkNetv2 tokens into these pools, we'll come back and we'll make that happen. All right, I will see you guys shortly. All right, so it looks like the Phantom network has single staking that is enabled here in the ELK Finance interface finally for staking our ELK here. So let's go ahead, make the deposit. I can tell you that the pools or the farms are not online yet. So I just checked those on the side. So we'll check the Avalanche mainnet, see what's going on there. So let's go ahead and approve, dropping all of our ELK in here. And we'll click on sign. And then we'll go ahead and click on deposit. And so we're going to get these 517 ELK tokens. We're going to put these guys to work for us. Now remember, I've already created the LP liquidity provider tokens with the FTM and the ELK. It's just that the farms are not online. All right, so take a look at that. Now it says 6.091 ELK and the APR is 429. You know, you're getting in early, right? Early bird gets the worm. However, this was tapered off. It was around 48%, 49%. But hey, I'll take 429% as long as it lasts. All right, so if I was to come over to the farms, you can see here that the farms are still not online. So let's check Avalanche. Let's check the Avalanche mainnet here, and let's switch over, and now it says Avalanche, and let's refresh and see if the farms are online. I just refreshed. I don't see it online. Let's take a look at the stake. So single stake, I'll take a look at that. It looks like 365%, but again, I didn't have any standalone ELK that was here that I was going to stake. But if you did on the Avalanche mainnet, you'd be looking at 365%. And I remembered actually after recording that I have some stuff on the Polygon mainnet as well. And it looks like we've got, 56 ELK here. So, let's go ahead, let's deposit 50 of those in here and we'll take advantage of the crazy APRs that are out there right now. And again, the APRs are really high because everyone hasn't come over yet. Because again, it looks like they had some issues today. So let's let this sort out. Now, it's interesting. Watch what happens here when I click confirm. You may see like a red box down here. Okay, good. We didn't. Because when working with Polygon, I've seen that a couple of times where this red box appears down in the bottom of MetaMask and the transaction fails. And it flashes really quickly and then fails. But it looks like we're good here. So we left ourselves with 6 ELK. Take a look at that. Everything looks good. So, hey, we're earning 0.2 a day, but still 157%, not bad. But again, that's going to come down drastically. So if we were to switch back to the Phantom mainnet, and actually before we do that, let's take a look at the farms here. Yeah, farms are still not online. So it looks like farming round 12 is going to be delayed a little bit on ELK Finance until they can sort some things out, but the single staking is back online. So that's good news. So if we were to switch back to Phantom, and you can read that right up here, a couple of things, asks that I have, I would love to see in the farms when they show you the LP tokens, if it would show you the number of each token and the current market value of those tokens. It doesn't show you that, and I'm really hoping that they're going to make that happen at some point. But again, here we are. We're looking at 429% right now, and I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, ride it as long as we can, and then it'll eventually come back down to where it was. All right, all you need to do now is if you've got your LP tokens created and you followed my instructions, wait for the farms to come back online and then deposit those liquidity provider tokens in those farms. All right, well, that is going to do it for this video tutorial on ELK Finance and ElkV2. Again, definitely a few bumps in the road. However, short-term sacrifice, long-term payoff. I think there's a lot of great things that are coming with ELK Finance, and now that we've got this ELK version 2. All right, as always, I really appreciate your time. I hope I've earned the privilege of your time here in this video, and as I always say, I hope to see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a great week.